Ladies, I'm just letting everybody into the room, and I'm going to mute everybody for now. Can you hear me? Yeah, I haven't muted myself. Right, so good evening, ladies. Thank you so much for joining the call. For those that don't know me, I'm Zoe, and I'm a fellow menopause sufferer. Sorry, I've just got more people coming in the room. I'm delighted to be delivering these calls every month. So I've been doing them for just over a year now. In fact, it was last March that I started them. I recently completed a menopause course myself. So I'm officially a menopause doula now, which means I can go out and support and help women through menopause. And I've just found the course really interesting, and it really sort of highlighted for me how important our diet, nutrition and our lifestyle can have such an impact on our menopause symptoms. So one thing that I just wanted to touch on this evening is that I speak to so many ladies that kind of get hooked up on going to the doctors and having a blood test to confirm if they're in menopause. And basically, I just wanted to run through, there's 4 female specific hormone shifts, and this will kind of explain why that blood test is pretty much a waste of time. So puberty. So we start our ovarian activity. This sort of triggers between the ages of 8 and 10. And that's kind of when we have our first menstrual cycle. On average, at the age of 11, periods become regular with an estimate of 400 to 450 periods over 40 years. Wow, so that's a lot, isn't it, to look forward to? And then we go into premenopause. So that's when our periods are regular for approximately 30 years. So hormone levels are rising and then they plateau prior to the hormone decline tipping point, which is the joys of perimenopause. So perimenopause is 10 years prior to menopause day. So periods move to an irregular pattern. Hormones are fluctuating unpredictably. And then menopause day. Yeah, menopause day is 1 day and our average age there is 51. And periods stop permanently once you've gone 12 months without a period. So hormone levels have drastically declined and now fluctuations are minimal. So some doctors will do a blood test on your FSH levels, which is your follicle stimulating hormone, which can be measured to confirm menopause. But when a woman's FSH blood level is elevated to 30 or higher, and you haven't had a period for a year, it will confirm that you've reached menopause. But obviously, you know, when you're in perimenopause, our FSH levels will go up and down. So they can be very high one day and low the next day. And when FSH levels are high, the ovaries make more estrogen. And when the levels drop, the estrogen levels drop. So the best way really is to track your symptoms. And then that way you can keep a log of, you know, what's going on in your cycle. And actually there is a menopause symptom tracker that I can provide you with, which is part of the course that I've done, they've provided me with. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of background on that, because I know a lot of people seem to be asking me about that recently. So now I'm going to introduce you to Claire. So Claire is a lady who helps people holistically who are going through the menopause. So if I hand over to you, Claire, I know you asked me to make you a host so that you can share something on your screen. So I'm just looking how I do that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think if you click on share screen, I don't know, it might give you.
Oh, here we go. Make host. There we go. So you should be able to take over now, is that?
Oh yes, I've seen I am the host. So I'll just say hello first and then I'll play around because I've got two screens on the go. So
Okay, cool.
this is going to be a test to see whether this works, ladies. So hi everybody, and thanks so much to Zoe for inviting me onto this call. So can't wait to chat to you and tell you a little bit about what I do, and then answer any questions that you've got. Answer any questions that you've got if we have time. So if we don't have time, then I've put my details at the end so you can contact me and ask any questions. So I'm going to have a go now at trying to share my screen. Please bear with me for 1 second because I have to move screens from one place to the next. So I'm going to give it a go. Bear with. Right, I'm going to move this out of the way and put it in present. I think there's some people waiting to come in as well. It's coming up on my thing now.
Oh, okay. Can I still do that then if I've handed over to you?
Do you want me to just admit them?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, if you can see them, that's great.
Just
Thank
as I've
you.
had to. Present. Right. Oh no, audience window. Right, okay. So what can you guys see on your screen?
Taking you from stressed out warrior to resilient warrior.
Yeah, so can you just see that? You can't see it as like a present. Is it just the full screen?
And then there's little slides underneath, which are
Oh no.
smaller.
Ah, okay, hang on. Because that's my screen I want to look at. 1 minute, 1 minute. Sorry about this, guys. I'm not what. Be nice. See, I've tried this on my computer and done it all, but then obviously once you get into Zoom, it changes. So can you see still all like my full Canva thing there?
Yeah, we can still see that taking you from stress. I think when you click on that, that comes up big.
Yeah, but can you see all like the Canva and the notes and everything?
There's some little like boxes on the side. There's, you know, like little, but the taking you from stressed out, that one is big in the screen.
Yeah, I want it to be full screen. Audience window and.
Can you sort of read it out, you know, from your end, Claire?
Yeah, I can
I'm
do it.
just conscious of
yeah.
time. That was all, because we've only got
Okay,
45
no
minutes.
worries. Can you see anything now?
Yeah, who am I? I'm Claire. I help female professionals.
Okay, and you see the slides at the bottom as well?
Yeah.
Oh, no worries. Never mind. Okay.
Claire, if you click, you know where your slides are at the bottom?
Yeah.
If you had it, it's disappeared now. If you sort of slide across them, and a little box should come up and say, oh, I don't know where
Yeah, don't worry. Thanks, Ange. No worries.
see the two arrows diagonal.
Yeah.
Press that. It should go to big screen.
Right.
And if you click, hang on, if you click that share button,
I'm just gonna.
if you go back into your Canva rather than the presentation, and then you've got the share tab.
I'm just going to do it like this. Don't worry about it. I was trying to get all clever.
Yeah, because I think we are literally we're going to be tight for time otherwise.
I'm ready. I'll fly through. Don't worry,
Yeah.
Zoe. I'll fly through.
And then present full screen. Well, that's it. There we are. Perfect.
I know how to do that normally. Thank you, Ange. I'm trying to get clever, so I've got my notes on a different screen, and then you're just seeing the presentation. But do you know what? Never mind. This is great, because this is setting a really good example of stress. Stressed out warrior.
What we want to avoid.
Yeah, I did it on purpose. Totally on purpose, guys. All right, so hi everybody. Sorry, I'm Claire. So I'm a hypnotherapist and a psychotherapeutic counsellor, and I work with professional women to help them thrive in perimenopause, to help them break free from using alcohol as their coping strategy, and to overcome stress, anxiety, low mood, and really going from that kind of survival mode. And as Zoe said, coming at it from a really holistic point of view. I've got a kind of 20-year background in women's health, fitness and nutrition anyway. That was kind of my background. So I'm a Pilates instructor as well. But 3 years ago, I qualified as a hypnotherapist and just wanted to carry on supporting women in this area really. So I've run kind of lots of online weight loss and wellbeing courses, but this is my big passion now. So that is what I'm doing at the moment. So we'll just briefly talk about today, because obviously we haven't got a lot of time, how ACEs can affect your menopause. So ACEs are adverse childhood experiences, how people use alcohol as a way to cope and what the benefits are and what the risks are with that, and also how hypnotherapy, talking therapies can help with the symptoms of menopause, the physical symptoms and the emotional and psychological symptoms as well. So if you've got any questions, perhaps jot them down, and then maybe if we've got time, you can ask me at the end. If not, you can write them me after. So there was a study, there hasn't been lots of studies around, but to me, it makes total sense that if you have lots of unprocessed emotions that people get from trauma, that it will affect how you experience other events in your life. It makes sense to me totally. But there has been studies, and there was this large cross-sectional study, and they found that there was a significant association between childhood trauma, so adverse childhood experiences, that's what the ACEs are. And that could be anything from physical abuse, neglect, sex abuse, broken families, anything that cause, little traumas, big traumas, anything that person perceives as a trauma could have an effect on how women experience their menopause and the types and severity of the symptoms. And it was 4 times likely, for women that were experiencing more severe persistent menopausal symptoms, they were reporting 4 or more adverse childhood experiences. So there was a definite correlation between those experiences. And that's not to say that if someone has childhood trauma, they will definitely experience bad menopause symptoms. It's just worth looking at it, because HRT is not going to be a solution for solving unprocessed emotions that come out in midlife. And there's lots of reasons that they might start to surface in midlife. So it's really important to kind of offer that appropriate holistic view, like zoom out and let's look at the woman as a whole package, rather than just looking at a list of symptoms and trying to cure the symptoms. So let's look at it in detail. So meet Mary. Mary is obviously not a real person, but she's a amalgamation of lots of different clients. So Mary is, let's say she's 46. She's stressed because of her mental load that she's got, so her day-to-day mental load. She isn't sleeping well because she is stressed, obviously. She's got anxiety, perhaps she's having hot sweats and night sweats, and that is exacerbating the anxiety and the worry. So there's someone else, so I'm just going to let them in as well.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Mary's the majority of the unpaid work, which, let's face it, ladies, we all still are, aren't we? You know, you might be trying to juggle a career, a business, trying to stay on track in a patriarchal society where workplaces aren't set up for women and for taking career breaks to have children. And as we are predominantly still the ones that do all that, you're just mixing a lot of different stresses there. So the unpaid work that kind of gets unrecognised and just gets piled on, doesn't it? So she's having a drink or two in the evening to relax, to unwind, but she feels horrendous the next day and probably for the next week. And she's noticing that her anxiety is actually a lot worse after she's drank. She's got lots of unprocessed emotions that she hasn't had time to deal with. If you think about in your 20s, when you're going out and perhaps building your career, you're maybe leaving uni, you're doing all that kind of stuff in your 20s. In your 30s, you're perhaps getting married, having children, then you're raising children, like very young children in your 30s. You haven't got time to process anything that might have happened to you in the past. And then kind of get to your 40s and, you know, someone else is coming in. You might be starting to think about these things a lot more. And this is when women start to notice that these types of emotions and feelings and memories are starting to come up. And it's time to start to turn the spotlight on yourself and start to deal with those emotions. And, you know, if you've got all of that, what happens when you add perimenopause to the mix? And that's when things get really tough. You know, you're trying to deal with, your cup is already kind of really full, and then you're trying to stick perimenopause in top of that cup as well. And you're still trying to juggle everything, and you're still trying to be a superwoman and super mom and super worker and super colleague. So it's a bit of a perfect storm, isn't it, ladies? And my screen seems to have frozen. Okay. So when you've got these kind of unprocessed emotions or you're dealing with anxiety, your nervous system is kind of in a dysregulated state. So what happens when we have any kind of trauma, childhood trauma, or in early adult life even, if we're not processing those emotions, those feelings, then they do get stored in our body. And your nervous system is, as I said, dysregulated. And so you are basically working in fight or flight because your body, your brain constantly thinks that you're in danger because you've got all of these stored feelings, all these emotions with nowhere to go. So you're constantly in this fight or flight. So you're activating the sympathetic nervous system. Got lots of people coming in, sorry.
Oh,
You're
are there?
activating, yeah.
Oh,
You're activating the sympathetic nervous system. This is our fight, flight, freeze, fawn. There's lots of F's in this nervous system. But it causes inflammation in the body. It can cause lots of problems. So we need to find ways of moving out of that sympathetic nervous system into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest nervous system. So I'm going to really quickly give you a tool that you can use. Some of you might already use it. You might have seen it before. I think it'd be really nice to do that together. So for those of you that have just joined, that's great. You're just in time to have a go at a little exercise. So I'd love for you all to do it. So it'd be really good. I'm feeling quite anxious at the moment because my screen didn't work and it's stressed me out. So I'm already feeling probably on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 6 on the stress and anxiety level. So I'm going to see how this comes down for me. So what I'd like you to do, ladies, is think of a time or a situation that makes you feel anxious. And I hate to do this to you, but it's a good way of testing this little tip out. And if you can just think of that time and just notice where you feel that anxiety. I feel it in my stomach when I feel anxious. I get those kind of knots in my stomach. So right now I can feel it in my stomach. It's about 6. So I just want you to rate your anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I'm fine, I'm chilled, I'm relaxed, 10 being whoosh, I'm over, you know, I'm stressed, I'm really anxious, I really need a bottle of wine right now. So you don't have to say anything, but just think of that. And notice where it is as well in your body, in your anxiety. And let's do something about it. So I'm going to do it I'm going to talk it through for you, but basically it's square breathing. So you've got the square to picture on the screen, hopefully, or you can close your eyes and just visualize a square, or you can just listen to me talking. But we're basically going to use the count of 4 to go as you run your eyes from the bottom left-hand corner up to the top. You're going to hold as you run your eyes across the top. You're going to exhale as you run your eyes down to the bottom, and you're going to hold as you run your eyes along the bottom to the start. We're going to count for 4 on each. I'm going to do the counts for you, ladies, and you're just going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And we're going to do it about 2 or 3 times. So does that sound okay? Cool, excellent. Right, so taking a nice deep breath in then, guys. So we're going to breathe in. You're going to run your eyes up the side of the square. So we're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, and in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, and just normal breathing again now, guys. And just notice how that anxiety is reduced and what number it's come to, and give it a number. And I would like to say that that's going to have come down a little bit. Mine's come down quite a bit, actually, just from teaching it to you guys. And I would probably say to do that as many times as needed to bring that anxiety level down. Let me know. I'd love to know how you all felt with that at the end, if you fancy telling me. I would use it as a proactive thing rather than a reactive. So if you can practice that every day, just for a few moments, few minutes every day, it sends a message to your body that, hey, we're safe. Everything's okay. We're not in danger. We don't need to fight. We don't need to fly. We're all good. And it just relaxes that nervous system, so that when you are in a situation that makes you feel really anxious, you're more able to quickly recognize it and go back into that rest and digest part of the nervous system. So a really common coping strategy that people use would be to use alcohol. And I hear it so much, it's like I look forward to that glass of wine at the end of the day because it's the only way I can switch my brain off. I can just numb those feelings. I can not think about it. It feels like a way to relax. That first glass, you get that dopamine hit. You get that feel good buzz from that first glass. And of course, that becomes a reward, which activates the habit loop. So it then becomes a habit, which is often hard to break. And if we haven't got those coping strategies to put in place of the not so healthy habit, you can't take away a habit. You can only replace habits. So it can be used as a coping strategy for the current stress and for the past traumas as well. But guys, don't forget it's marketed that way. Big alcohol has got a lot to answer for. It's marketed to make us feel better. That's going to be the cure for everything. You think about the beer Moretti advert. It's on an Italian sun terrace with really good-looking men and women sipping beer, and it gives you that feeling that everything's okay and life is good. It's marketed that way, so it's like there's no judgment here. They're doing it on purpose to us, but it increases your anxiety. It alters your brain chemistry. So if your hormones are already kind of fluctuating, which affects your brain, and you're taking in a toxin, a poison, which is altering your brain chemistry, it is increasing the anxiety by reducing a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is an anxiety reducing neurotransmitter. Of course, you've got weight gain, which can bring all the self-confidence things into effect. We know it increases the intensity of night sweats and hot flashes. And a really important point is it affects your liver function. And if you've got excess estrogen, which no one ever really talks about, but when your hormones are fluctuating, there'll be times when your estrogen is too much, and that can create lots of symptoms. And the way our body metabolizes that excess estrogen is by the liver. So if our liver is trying to metabolize alcohol, it's not being able to do what we really want it to do. I know I'm rushing through, guys. So how can hypnotherapy help? How can I help? So habits are formed, they're stored because of our beliefs. Subconscious programming is what we can do with hypnotherapy, because we can access and talk to the subconscious mind where those beliefs are already stored. And subconscious reprogramming is matching your desired life, matching your beliefs system with your desired outcome, your desired life. So you desire to go through perimenopause and thrive and feel well and feel confident. But if that doesn't match your subconscious beliefs, it's not going to happen. So we need to kind of match those up. And that's what we can do through hypnotherapy. And of course, we can do trauma release if you have a hypnotherapist that is qualified in and is trauma aware. Hypnotherapy in and of itself is amazing for stress and anxiety. It is a key tool to get you into that parasympathetic nervous system. It can improve the physical symptoms like hot flashes and sleep disturbances. You can't cut off the brain and the body. We know what affects the brain affects the body and vice versa. So we need to think about menopause from a top down, what's going on in your brain affecting your body, a bottom up, what's going on in your body that's affecting your brain, and an outside in, what else is going on at the time and in the past that's affecting us at the moment. And hypnotherapy as well can be really good for breaking those habits, such as drinking, to cope with stress and anxiety, and helping to then implement and replace those not so healthy habits with whatever healthier habits you want to put in there. So, any questions?
I was going to say, Claire, if it's okay, we'll do like questions at the end if we've got time. Is that okay? Because I've still got
no problem.
Another guest speaker on, if that's okay. So if you can
no worries. Ladies, I would love to talk to you. So if you feel like you match any of these, I'm doing some market research at the moment. So if you are drinking more than you'd like to switch off, if you do want to wake up in the morning without that fuzzy head hangover, if anything that I've talked to you about today resonates, then you can get in touch with me. My screen's gone off now. I did do a little QR code. Perhaps I can come back into
sorry,
that.
sorry, Claire. Yeah, no, that's fine. And also, I can share information, you know, with your details as well. So that's good. Thank you so much, Claire. That was really good.
Worries.
You've got us all doing that exercise. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I hope the ladies found that.
Hope it helped.
Beneficial as well, and it's something that we can all, you know, practice when we feel like we're going into that sort of situation. So I'm just going to come to my next guest speaker, who's Adina. So Adina, can I see where you are? Are you still there? Sorry, hi, there she is at the top. So Adina's gonna come on and talk to us about how she's been managing her symptoms naturally. So Adina, if you'd like to, I'll unmute you or ask you to unmute, and if you'd like to come on and tell us about, you know, what you were struggling with, and you know, how you're feeling now since you've been taking some natural products. So far away.
Yeah. Yeah, hi everyone. And first of all, thank you so much, Zoe, for having me, and also Claire for the amazing presentation. That was great. It's always good to learn new stuff about our amazing symptoms and how to cope with them. Yeah, I started with, I had like my main issues were not being able to sleep, anxiety. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, those were my main issues that I had. I didn't actually, in the beginning, I didn't relate them to menopause because I had never heard of it before. The main things that I heard were night sweats, hot flashes and stuff like that, and horrible moods, mood swings. That's also something that I have been dealing with. But yeah, then I was searching for menopausal stuff, and Zoe came up, and I followed her for a while, and she was talking about these amazing omegas and how they helped her cope with those symptoms that I was experiencing. So then I messaged her, and a couple of months later, I decided to give them a try. And I don't know, was it 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks after I started taking them, I was able to sleep well, and slowly my focus came back. Like, yeah, they've just been amazing. And that's the only thing I changed. So I knew it was them.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And then I added the shakes, which I absolutely love because they just keep me going all day. And I have a very, very busy, hectic schedule. So it's really hard to just slow down. So yeah, that's also been really amazing for my energy levels, which were down too. So yeah,
Brilliant.
that's what I've been doing so far. I can't wait to incorporate the other capsules.
Because did you say that you were experiencing your hair loss as well, Adina?
Yes, that was another huge thing. Like I combed out, like every time I washed my hair, it was like I had hardly any hair left anymore. And I used to have lots of hair. So yeah, that was a huge thing too. And that has stopped. Like I don't comb out hardly anything anymore. It's just the normal, just like it used to be. So yeah, been
Brilliant. And
amazing.
Adina's actually dialing in from Canada as well. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that, she's on the call. It's just a different time difference. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, Adina. I know you were skeptical for a while, and it took you a while to sort of get going, but once you did, you quickly noticed those improvements, which is brilliant. So I just really wanted to touch quickly on the difference to the omegas that I recommend and that Adina's been taking to those out there on the market. So ours have got a blend of 3 different omegas: omega-3, 7 and 9, and these do bridge the gap with what we should be actually getting in our diet every day, because our bodies can't naturally produce omegas, so we can get them through supplements and through our diet. But these ones also include vitamin D3, zinc, and 2 phytonutrients as well, lutein and lycopene. And these are vegan, so no fishes were harmed in the process of making these. So we go straight to the source that the fish feed on, which is the algae. And our capsules are bioavailable as well, which means that the body recognises those. They're not synthetic, so the body recognises it and takes them in through the bloodstream, and it gets stored, which is why we see so many great testimonials, and Adina obviously is just one example. They also contain EPA and DHA, which contribute to the maintenance of brain, eye and heart health, and those are essential when you're taking an omega supplement, the EPA and the DHA. An omega fatty acid is a highly recommended as a supplement to take whilst you're going through the menopause, so that it can actually have a positive effect on our estrogen levels, when we're in decline, and obviously when they're fluctuating. The lutein and lycopene in the omegas are phytoestrogens, which are a special group of phytonutrients. So again, they can help reduce hot flushes. So I think I'm going to have to stop it there, because we've literally got less than a minute to go, lady, and I think the call is going to time out. So if you've got any questions for any of us, you can drop into my menopause group, or I can put you in touch with Claire and share her details with you. So thank you so much, ladies, to my guest speakers. It was a great call tonight, and hopefully we'll see you on the next call in June. So enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies.